There's nothing that you can say. There's no magic words that's going to make it better.
Mhm.
And also people say, well, I'm so scared. I don't want to make you upset. I say, let me tell you something. My grief, my sadness, all my things sit right here now. You know, if you say something that brings that out, that's not your fault. And I know it's part of the process.
Hi, I'm Sunflower. I'm a seed of the sun. And here in this podcast, we talk about real journeys from hardship to healing, darkness to light, valleys to mountaintop victories, because God doesn't waste our pain. He turns it into a God story.
Hello, and welcome to I Am Sunflower Global TV. And I am Sunflower. I'm a seed of the sun, and so are you. But so is this person right here. Hello, Kim.
Seed of the sun, I like it.
Yes.
Yes.
We are. But it's funny. We're talking about something that's a little bit heavy today, but also something that we avoid talking about. And so today we're talking about grief. With someone acquainted with grief, but also that has some specific training in that area. So I'm so glad that we're talking about this subject that seems somewhat untouchable in families,
Right.
and we don't really plan for. And so we just want to get a better understanding of what does that word even mean?
Right. Well, so first, should I tell my story?
Yes,
So that
please tell us your story.
relationship with grief.
Yes.
So I was married for 32 years. We got married in college. I had just turned 20. I was 20 for 3 weeks when we got married, which is very young. And I would not really say that's a great idea. The Lord did work it out at about year 10. So thank goodness for that. But anyway, Harry, my husband, was never sick. Like he never missed work. He was always very healthy. So if you would have asked me to name like the top 5 ways I thought he would pass away, I would not have said sickness. So he started to not feel well in July of 2019. And he went to the doctor. He was always very good about going to the doctor. He went for physicals. I'm the one that's not very good at that.
Yes, men are bad at that.
Right. And he was good at it. And I was not that good at it. My doctor would call and be like, if you don't come in, we're taking you off the rolls. So I would be like, okay, I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so he goes to the doctor. It takes him 6 weeks to diagnose him, but he got diagnosed with colon cancer. But he didn't really feel that sick.
Right.
So the Lord really, before he got diagnosed, had given me a sort of a picture and a verse.
Mm-hmm.
Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Okay, so I had that, and I didn't know why I had it.
Yes.
But it just kept coming to me, and every time I prayed, that was what I got. And I really didn't understand what it was for, because I just didn't think that he had to go through a process of 6 weeks of figuring out what it was. So I just really didn't, I thought it was going to be nothing, right? Like, so I'm praying that and keep praying that. So we get to the hospital on the 16th of August, and it just gotten progressively worse. We didn't have an answer. We went to the emergency room because one of my nurse friends was like, Kim, if you do not take him today, I am coming to pick him up.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I'll take him. Because he was kind of minimizing it, like it's fine. He kept calling his doctor, and they weren't. So we go and we find out from the tests, and they don't tell it to us because it hasn't been confirmed, but they hand me the test results. I go out in the hallway. My son is there. He brought us some food, and I was like, it's like he's with cancer. But I don't know that because I'm not a doctor and I don't know well, but I'm seeing carcinoma, like a bunch of words that I kind of knew, but not really. So they checked us into a room. When they came upstairs, the doctors, I can't remember what they said exactly, but they weren't saying for sure that it's cancer because it hadn't been biopsied or whatever. But basically, they were implying that it was cancer, right? So I go in the bathroom. I say to the Lord, you've got to give me something right now. I can't leave this bathroom without something from you. How am I going to do this?
Right.
And he said, I've already given it to you. And he brought your kingdom come back to my life. I marched out of the bathroom. I went up to my husband. I grabbed him by his little cheeks. And I said, here's the deal. The Lord has given me this verse, and I've been having it for weeks now. He gave us the battle plan before he gave us the battle. So we're going to rest in this. That the Lord is going to heal you because that's what that means. There's no sickness in it. And if he's saying pray on earth as it is in heaven,
Right.
that is our battle plan. So here we go. So we can listen to what the doctors say, but we have a bigger word. That's where we're going to sit. Okay.
Mhm.
So that's what we did all the way through. I did not look to the right or to the left. I heard what the doctor said, but I didn't give it that much credence.
Yes.
And so it wasn't like I was in denial, but it was like, but I have a bigger word, right? I have you. When the doctor said in October, basically, there's nothing we can do for you. My husband was like, but I'm only 53. And so I went to him and I said, they don't know. He doesn't know.
Right.
Right? He's not God.
Mhm.
We have a word, we're going to stick to it. And so I carried him on my back. And the night before he died, it was Friday night, he died Saturday morning. Unbeknownst to me, I gave him permission to go. And I actually had been telling other people to do that for years because I read this book and it was saying people have pre-death awareness and sometimes they need permission.
Yes.
I did not know that I did that Friday night, but here's what I said. He kept falling off his mask. And I said, babe, we got to sleep. It was like morning. I was like, you gotta leave your mask on. We got to get some sleep. Because I was sleeping next to him on the couch. We had a hospital bed in the front room. And, but I said, here's the deal. I said, if Jesus comes to get you, I want you to go for him. But I still believe you're going to be healed. Right? I'm still standing on that. But I just want you to know that. And I said, I'll be okay. Morgan will be okay. Christian will be okay. And he's like, and I didn't put that together that I had given that permission because he probably would have hung on a little longer without that just because of who he was. But it took me about 6 months to realize. And then it was like, oh my gosh. So,
Did reading that book help?
yes.
The seed in your
and,
mouth?
and I had read the book years and years ago when my dad died.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. My dad died in 1996. It was 2019. But I remembered it was written by hospice nurses and it was called The Final Gift.
Oh, wow.
And so I've been telling people that loved ones need permission for however many years. And I didn't realize I did it until about 6 months later. And I was like, dang it. Then I was like, no, that was the right thing to do.
Look, I'm taking deep breaths right now. Even as you're saying that, it's like, I feel like the Lord set you up.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Oh, 100%.
And even the verse, not knowing why you got
Not knowing I got it. And it really carried us, both of us, through. He didn't really feel sick until Tuesday before he died.
Wow.
Like it was really, he'd say, can I have some ibuprofen or some Tylenol? And the nurses would look at him funny. And he thought that maybe he wasn't supposed to ask for that. I said, no, babe, you're misunderstanding their look. They're giving you a funny look because that you should be asking for Oxycontin or you should be asking for hydrocodone or you should be asking for pain medicine, but you're not, you're asking for Tylenol. And so that's why they're looking at you funny, not because you shouldn't be, because you should be asking for more. So, anyway, it was really a blessing and they kept calling him a unicorn. He never responded the way they thought. What I found out later is every time they said that, basically what they were saying that I did not understand at the time was we can't understand why you're still alive.
Right.
So, the Lord gave me it was a little bit less than 4 months and it was beautiful. And you know how you ask yourself sometimes, or sometimes people ask themselves, like, what would I do if something like that happened to me?
Yes.
Right? Like if some big trauma happened, what would I do? Would I hold my faith? Would I be able to? And I was like, yes, now I can know the answer. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Because I did. I really did not. Because people would say, well, sometimes healing happens in heaven. And I was like, no, yes, but not in this case.
Right.
Because I got that word. And so I cannot understand why that happened. And it did jack me up, I'm gonna be honest. After he died, I was a little jacked up, a little shook. And me and God had to go through a thing. And we'll talk about that probably.
Yes.
But it came down to the Lord asked me one day, do you think I'm good? Did you think I was good before? And I was like, yeah, I did. And he kind of gave me a little whooping and he said, well, your circumstances don't determine my goodness. And I was like, ooh,
Can you repeat that? Don't you love that?
Yeah. Your
Oh my
circumstances do not determine my goodness. And I was like, you are right. And I had to put a stake in the ground. That even though I couldn't understand, and even though I still pray for people for healing,
Yes.
because I'm so committed to that that's God's will for people. I do not make excuses and I do not answer for him. And I'm in charge for the prayer.
Yes.
He's in charge of the outcome. So it seems sort of weird because people are like, but your husband died. And I'm like, yes, but God is still a healer.
But now it goes back to what you said about God being good, right? Because we say it a lot. We like, God is good all the time, all the time. God is good.
Yeah.
But he's like, so do you think I'm good right now? You
Right.
still think I'm good?
In the midst of this.
Yeah.
And I literally had to say, and think about that for a minute and be like, yeah, because I thought you were good before.
Yes.
So yes. What I've learned is that I can't make excuses for him. Because when we start making excuses for when things don't work out the way we planned, that's when we have wrong theology. That takes us down the wrong path. When we try to make up the reason,
Yes,
why something happened and we don't know what the reason is,
yeah.
we go off the path.
Which goes back to the verse he gave you. It's like,
Yes,
this is a big
kings and
circle.
it's
everything that he's talking to you about.
I think it would have been a very different experience if he had not given me that verse. I was like 8 feet tall in the spirit. He was talking to me. He told me to go and get 7 women.
What? God talks to you?
Yeah. He showed up. I got 7 women. I called them God's army. He told me to do it. I said, you don't have to come to the hospital. You don't have to bring me a meal. Don't do anything. All I want you to do is approach the throne. Right? So I had people praying all the time. We'd have phone calls. They're speaking in, prophesying, doing all the things.
Mm-hmm.
And he was so talking to me.
Wow.
But then after he carried past, it felt like a gate went down and I heard nothing. I heard nothing. It was like blackness.
So how do you move forward then?
I didn't do it very gracefully. Let's just get it that way.
Yes.
I mean,
and then, one of the things we were talking about was, and I guess we could just dig right in.
Yeah.
It was like how we respond. We want to help someone so badly.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's in our discomfort that we say things that are like, oh, well, he's going to be better in heaven.
Yes.
And like all those like things.
Little cliches that people want to say. And it's not because people are being malicious or mean, but what you're experiencing is uncomfortableness that they don't know what to do with. And they do want to help. But unfortunately, those cliches are probably some of the worst things you can say to someone who's in deep, active grief.
Yes.
Right. So what happened with me is so he passed away on December 14th of 2019. And then we rolled right into COVID. I know.
Talking about being like alone
in
this space.
Really, something. But for me, and I hope this isn't offensive to some, but it actually ended up being a good thing because both my kids came. And so I got a bridge because neither one of them lived with me. My son was in college and my daughter had moved to Nashville. And so I got about an 8-month bridge where I would have been cold turkey alone. I got like some extra time. That was super helpful. So every night I got in bed, I would want to cry and I would tell myself, don't do that. You already can't sleep. You got the menopause and you're going to get snotty and you're not going to be able to breathe. Like, don't cry now. And so I would promise myself, you can cry in the morning. When you get up, you can cry. And so that's what I would tell myself so I could go to sleep. So I would get up every morning and I would purposefully grieve. That was my time. And so sometimes I just sat there and cried. Sometimes I read a grief book. Sometimes it was hard in the beginning to read the Bible because I was like, this thing is sinking sand. I'm just going to tell you the truth. I was like, this right here is sinking sand. Everything that I watched you do and you modeled for me did not happen on this earth.
Yeah.
The word that you gave me did not happen. So that was a struggle. I had a hard time picking up that book. Now I could listen to praise and worship music, so I'll do that sometimes. So it all just depended. And I I could be there for 15 minutes. I could be there for 2 hours. I'm a counselor, so I had to take time off because I could not carry the weight, right, of anybody else's emotions at that time. So I took time off. So, and then COVID anyway. So
Yes.
I just had my time. And
I just love the idea that God ministers to us in different ways.
yes,
And sometimes it's not physically reading the word.
right.
And sometimes it's not the person that's talking to you. It's like him giving you a song in your heart, or
Right.
listening to something that reinforces your faith.
I remember going to Free Chapel. They had a worship night,
Yes.
and I went. And I've never in my life experienced the difference between my soul and my spirit like I did that night.
Mm.
So my spirit wanted to stand up and worship, but my soul was like, mm-mm. And so I had this like battle sort of going on in between the two of those.
Yes.
And it was weird that I could feel one's pulling one way, one's pulling the other way. And I decided to stand up. So I stood up,
Yes.
but I couldn't get any words out of my mouth. I just stood up and I just sobbed. I think that was an offering to him.
Yes.
And
Isn't it something about how God collects your tears?
yes, totally. Someone got me a little thing, a little jar, and gave me that book.
Ah, how beautiful is
It's
that?
beautiful. I have it in my kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His timing is perfect, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good.
Even unexpected.
Really good. But we were talking about what people say.
Yes.
So, so when people say those cliches, like he's in a better place, at least you had him for as long as you had him.
Right.
You're lucky that you had the kind of marriage that you had. God needed a new angel. Whatever the things are that people say,
Yes.
right? What it can feel like to the person on the other side of those cliches is you're uncomfortable. You're not safe to sit in this space with me. So I would say, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I would just stop talking about it.
Right.
Then eventually the subject would change.
Mhm.
Right? Because I knew that they were not equipped or knowing how to sit with me
Yes.
in my grief. Right? So what I tell people is a couple of things. One, if someone is grieving and crying,
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to grieve and cry with them. Right? Weep with those who weep, rejoice with those who rejoice. So just match whatever they're at.
Mhm.
Right? So if someone's happy, be happy.
Mm-hmm.
If I caught a moment of happiness, be happy with me. Somebody asked me one time, do you feel guilty laughing?
I was just thinking about that.
Mhm.
Like, this person is gone. It's like, am I leaving them behind?
Right, because I'm laughing.
Right.
And I say, no. I said, my man is walking on streets of gold. He's living his best life. If I can snatch a little bit of happiness or joy down here, I'm gonna do it. No, I don't feel guilty about that at all. At all. Right? But I know some who do.
Yes.
Well, I don't. I did not ever.
Mm-hmm.
Joy is such a big part of my life that that whole process scared me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So weep with those who weep and rejoice with those who rejoice. And then the other thing I say is just tell someone instead of asking, how are you? Right? Because I'm horrible.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
this is true.
And who wants to answer that over and
Right.
over? So it's say, how are you holding up today? How are you holding up right now? Because it will change all throughout the day.
Yes.
Some parts of the day I was doing good. Some parts of the day I wasn't doing good. So it really kind of depended. So I think a good question is, how are you holding up right now? Or something like that. Because a lot of time my answer was up and down. I probably said up and down for 2 years. I would say I couldn't really just say good or bad, but because the truth of it is I was up and down. So I thought that was a good answer. But also saying to someone, I'm okay to sit with you, whatever that looks like.
Right.
If you want to talk, we can talk. If you don't, I can handle your tears. I can handle your pain. I'm just here to just be with you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's what I really needed somebody to say.
Well, it takes the onus off of me trying to make something better. And it's just like, what is it that you really need right now?
Right. And I'm willing to do whatever that is.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And not try to fix it. Because if you try to fix it, first of all, you got to know you can't.
Mhm.
There's nothing that you can say. There's no magic words that's going to make it better.
Mhm.
And also, people say, well, I'm so scared. I don't want to make you upset. I say, let me tell you something. My grief, my sadness, all my things sit right here now. You know, if you say something that brings that out, that's not your fault. And I don't, it's part of the process. Don't be scared of that. Unless you're trying to make me do that, that's different. But like,
Right.
just if you're talking about him or something and it does make me cry, that's okay. Because it didn't go away. You didn't bring it from down here. It's sitting.
Yes.
It's ready to come out at any moment. So it's not your responsibility. Like if I do cry when I'm with you, it's not because you made me.
And don't you think too? It's like so many triggers. It's memories and things that come up. Song.
Yes.
You know, something that you share together, something really silly. You
Yes.
see a picture or something, it can bring it right there.
Absolutely. And
Yes.
and I tell people, look, if you a nice question to ask somebody is, would you like me to say their name?
Wow.
Because some people aren't ready for that yet.
Mhm.
But I wanted his name to be said all the time. I wanted everybody to talk about him. One of my biggest fears was that he would be forgotten
Mhm.
on this earth. So I loved it when people would tell me a story, or I remember one time, or Carrie was so funny when he did this, or whatever. So I would have loved if people would ask me, "Can I say his name?" I'd be like, "Yes." Some people might be like, "I don't know, I'm not ready yet," right? Because it would depend on if they wanted to show you their grief or not. But, I loved it. So asking,
Never thought about that. That is very powerful.
is very powerful.
Yes. I lost my mom over a year ago, and I love that question because I want people to remember her. She was
Yes.
an amazing person.
Yes, and to tell stories and
Yes.
remember about her.
Mhm.
But in the beginning, some people aren't ready for that.
Yes.
I was ready from the jump.
Hmm. I got a phone call the other day from an old friend. Her mom used to be a receptionist in my salon. You remind me of her. I'm so serious. She was so much fun, and she had so much wisdom, but at the same time, you know how you were talking about being funny but deep at the same time?
Yes,
But not too deep.
yeah.
So the young ladies would come in and ask her about her opinion on their dating relationships and things like that, and she would get straight to the point. And
Yeah.
like, and she was funny about it, but she was just right to like, okay, you need to dump him. You need to leave. No, this is not going to
Kick
work.
him to the curb.
Right, kick him to the curb. And but they love that about
Yes,
her.
yes.
So I hadn't talked to her in quite wow. It's been over 5 years or something like that. But for at one time we were pretty close.
Mhm.
So she called me, and I said, "Yeah, we haven't talked in a while. I left you a message about a month ago. I had."
Uh-huh.
And she's like, "I'm so sorry. I couldn't. My mom passed away." And every memory of her mother came back in that moment for me. So now, even reflecting on that, she was ready to hear those
Right.
stories.
Yes.
But maybe if she had called me sooner,
Right.
he might not have been ready.
Been ready.
And I'm just realizing that as you're talking,
Mhm.
it could be really painful to say that person's name.
Depending on where they are in the grief. And I think it actually depends on whether somebody's an extrovert or introvert. I really do, because introverts process their feelings inside, so they might not want to show it. And if you talk about their loved one, it might come out, right?
Mhm.
But for me as an extrovert, like, I'm like, yes, talk about him. Like, please talk about him.
Like, okay, this says, can grief show up in unexpected ways or seasons or years later?
Yes.
And what I want to preface that to ask too, a lot of times people try to put a limit on how you're supposed to grieve,
Right.
and when, and all of that.
Yes. My mom sort of implied after about the 6-month mark that I really should be moving on. I should be doing much better.
Mm.
And I was like, and it made me mad, obviously. So then I was like, okay, she's not a safe person for me to talk to about this because she doesn't have any understanding, right? If you think after 32 years of marriage to my best friend that after 6 months I'm going to be like, just like, oh,
Right.
you don't understand the process, right? So, but yes, I am 7 years. I'm working on year 7 now,
Mm-hmm.
And I was at Kohl's the other day bringing my Amazon returns back.
Right.
And I walked past the shoe department, and Kerry was a shoe guy.
Yes.
He didn't care about clothes, but he loved his shoes. And I just all of a sudden got really sad being in, because that's where he would, Kohl's was kind of his shoe place.
Okay.
And I got really sad right there. Like, babe, I really miss you. Your shoes. I wish we could go shopping again for your shoes, you know, because he didn't like to shop except for shoes. And so I was always happy when he wanted to go shoe shop. So I'm on year 7, and I thought I'm gonna have to leave. I don't even know if I can take this back, because I was really struggling, you know. So grief can come back and bite you. And also it's bad if you don't deal with it.
Yes.
It comes back harder when you try to push it down and stay busy and ignore and pretend, right? Then you get what we call complicated grief or complex grief.
Yes.
If you find yourself not being able to drive by the cemetery, or if they died, like Carrie died around Christmas, if that would ruin my Christmas every year, which I don't allow it to do that. But the first several years, Christmas was tough. If it starts to make your life smaller, then you know you haven't dealt with it the way, especially if you're like 2 years out or 3 years out, right? If you're still having all of that, like I know one lady who still can't listen to praise and worship music, and she's 8 years out. So if your life gets smaller, you got to ask yourself, what do I need to deal with that I haven't, right? And what I know is, and this was hard, is everything that they say about grief is you have to go through the dark abyss. You cannot go around it. You cannot skirt it. You must go right through it. And so for me, a person I'm energetic, I'm happy, I'm joyful, I'm not prone to depression or anxiety. I'm just not.
Right.
I literally was asking the Lord, okay, I'll do it, but if I go into one, I'm coming. Like, what's going to happen if I can't get out of there?
Yes.
You know, like I've never lived there. And it scared me, truly. And so I would tell people, like, I'm going to make sure we get me out. I don't know what will happen. I don't know what will happen. But
so you feel like you were leaning into, he does say that he's our comforter, and that there's a short verse that says, God is my helper. And so that's how you got through at the end of that. Yes. I just love this conversation. I think we're going to have to continue for a part 2 with Miss Kim. But right now, Kim, can you talk to someone that's struggling, that maybe they need to be encouraged that faith will actually bring you through it?
Yes. Listen, if you're in grief right now and it feels like you cannot hear the Lord, I get that. It sometimes feels like the window's closed. Hang on.
Yeah.
He's there. That's when you got to know his heart for you and not just rest in your feelings, right? Because sometimes our feelings are deceitful. So as much as I felt like he wasn't there when I heard him so much before Carrie passed, and then it felt like a darkness enshrouded me and I couldn't hear anything, he's still there. So just hang on and surround yourself with good people, right? My people did not leave. I know that is not everyone's experience, and I'm sorry for that. If you lost friends, or if you lost, even if you had trouble with in-laws, or, if it was a child that died, maybe you're having trouble with your spouse, so many things. Hang on, the Lord is with you. I went to GriefShare, right? That helped me. That was a purposeful time of grieving. I learned about grief. GriefShare was important. Find community of people that understand.
Yes. Praise God. So those links will be below that you'll be able to click on that to find the extra help that you might need to get through it. There is help available. And definitely God is our helper and our comforter. He promised that he would be there for us.
100%.
Yes. So thank you so much for tuning in to part 1 of Grief and One Question Asked. We love you. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you'll like, share, and subscribe. Bye.
Bye.